we're just really grateful to have all the speakers that have been here to take the time to do this, and thank you for being here. We just have a few more presentations, and this next guy, he's a National Geographic, he is a scientist, he's a wildlife biologist, he's a National Geographic Explorer. His real job is chair of the Department of Environment and Sustainability at Catawba College, but he's also an adjunct professor in environment at Duke University. And he says when it comes to wildlife biology, he likes to move it, move it. Please welcome Dr. Luke Dollar.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you guys here. My name is Luke Dollar. I'm the chair of the Department of Environment and Sustainability at Catawba College. And as I said, I'm a wildlife biologist. I'm here to talk to you about human impacts on biodiversity. There's a lot of bad news there. There's also a lot of good news, and so let's focus a little bit more on that if we can. But first, some bad news. In recent weeks, we've said goodbye to the last male northern white rhino. Last week, the Fish and Wildlife Service declared the eastern cougar extinct. But there's still good news too. There's more of us on the planet. Wait. That's good news? Yes, it is, because there's more of us that are more aware than ever. And with the next generations, there's more awareness, more activism, and more game changers there to change what we've done in our generations, unsustainably using the planet in ways that we just can't fix in a short term. And the only way to coexist in the long-term future is to use our resources more sustainably and better. My path to wildlife biology and my career in conservation began more than 30 years ago when I picked up the cover of a National Geographic magazine. And on the cover of that magazine was a lemur and a word, Madagascar. I went to high school, I worked really, really hard, and I picked one college, and that was Duke. And the reason for that was because of some of the partners that are here today from the Duke Lemur Center. The summer before my freshman year, I got a work-study job as a primate tech at the Duke Lemur Center, and I was set, because I was going to spend my Duke tuition shoveling lemur poop. My parents weren't excited about that, but I sure was. The summer after my junior year, I convinced a professor to take me to Madagascar for the first time, and I was going to study lemurs. But the lemur I was studying was eaten by a predator. Literally, my homework was eaten. But that animal that ate the lemur was called the fossa. It had never been studied in the rainforests of Madagascar, and I found myself 2 years later back putting the first radio collars on these guys in the rainforests. This was 1994. They'd been described in the 1850s, but no one knew much of anything about them. And that was sort of my first lesson about one of the great things about science. The magnitude of what we have yet to learn, and science is the way we create those facts, is greater than the full volume of everything we know to date. That's good news. The first fossa I put a radio collar on 2 weeks later walked into a village and was killed. That was bad news. I asked the local people, why did you kill this? Well, it steals our chickens. I said, it was just a chicken. And then I realized Madagascar is the world's poorest country that's not currently in or recovering from war. The average annual income there is somewhere around $400 a year. That chicken means something. And that lesson that I learned from that was if I was going to be a scientist and I was going to study wildlife, I was going to have to spend as much of my time doing conservation and development work, working with the human populace, as I was just collecting data and writing papers. More than half of our time now is spent working with communities and building schools. Not just about fossa anymore, it's about the people. The people are the ones in control. We are the ones in control of our planet. Our decisions that we make here, the decisions that people make in Madagascar there, will be the arbiters of the fate of biodiversity on Earth. We have a two-pronged approach to conservation. First prong, pretty simple. Find a sustainable alternative to the problem. 3/4 of the populace of Madagascar, which now numbers 25 million, that population has doubled in the last 20 years, are subsistence farmers. They have no choice but to cut down forests to grow rice in order to survive. So one of the things that we do while we're there conducting our research is work with local villages in conservation and development work, helping people to become ecotourism supporters, helping local villagers to be research guides. The second prong, break the cycle. How do you break the cycle? Education. Quite simple. In many places in Madagascar, there are no schools, especially in remote areas where these national parks are. Our team has been able to build or renovate 40 schools in Madagascar over the past 15 years, servicing about 6,000 kids in Madagascar. That's just a drop in the bucket. But that drop in the bucket is good news. My first job, as we said, is I'm a professor. A professor took me to the other side of the planet and showed me parts of the world that I'd never seen before and made me realize the context that we all share with our environment. The need to be compassionate and aware of the communities that have no choices. And it's up to us to deliver those solutions, alternatives. The greatest news of all is that the vast majority of people here are younger than me. And all of you are aware of what took me till I was 25 years old to figure out. We can't just do science in a vacuum anymore. We have to take our results and act on them and make change. The Department of Environment and Sustainability at Catawba, 2 years ago in enrollment grew 15%. Last year it grew 20%. This next year our incoming class is going to grow enrollment in our department by 25%. The fact that there are more of us than ever, starting earlier than ever before, at finding better ways and acting to coexist in better ways gives me hope that we can all have hope for the future. Thank you.
Dr. Luke Dollar, nemesis to the lemur.